Hi everyone, this is Professor E. So in today's lecture, we are going to talk about Microsoft Access. So we're going to learn how to create a database from scratch, like a blank database. As you can see, I just opened Microsoft Access. So there are different ways you can open an Access file, either from templates, as you can see right here, depending what type of database you're going to be creating, or you can create from blank database, and that's the one we are going to create. So I'm going to click on blank database. And then it's going to ask you to locate the folder. So I'm going to click, and then maybe somewhere in here, I'm going to click or create a new folder. I'm going to put Access database. And I'm going to give it a name. So I'm going to call it order. Just a name, just an example. And as you can see right here, it shows the location and then create. So the first time you open a database, now before I start this, I need to make sure I don't forget. I added a review. This is for you. I think I sent an email regarding this. So let me just make sure everybody knows what I'm talking about here. So I added an assignment to review. Remember, just like the Microsoft Word and Excel review, this is only for completion grade. And I want everybody to try, just trying it to the best of your ability. And there is a video that takes you step by step. So let me just, okay, so this is D2L. And then, oh, this is the one. So in week number 5. So I added this one. So it's a database that you have to create. Okay, so the two tables, you're going to connect them, and then you're going to run these queries. And this is the file in Microsoft Word. So Word documents in case like you want to make it easy for yourself. Okay. Now, if you go to week number 4, there is a video that basically just go over this step by step. So basically all what you are doing is just have to watch this video, which is part 3. It's the same example. So basically you just have to follow along and then create the 2 tables, customer and account or bank account. And then you populate these tables, and then you establish a relationship between them, and then you run queries. That's going to get you a very good, perfect score that's going to significantly improve your grade. So I highly, highly recommend that you do that. It's very similar to the one that we did with Microsoft Word and Excel. So this is just for me, or like a way for me to help you, improve your grade and hopefully succeed in this class. Okay, if you have any questions about this, but as I said, before you start the working on that assignment or review, make sure you watch this video, MS Access Part 3. It's the same example. Basically, all what you were doing is just watching the video and then doing your part, basically follow along with the example. Okay, so let me go back to our database. So we just created database. Okay, let me make sure that's okay. That's good. We are looking at the same page. So when you open your database for the first time, by default you have table 1. It's like Microsoft Access created one for you. So we have 2 different views. We have the data sheet view and the design view. We normally, you start with design view. That's when you create your field and then you specify the data type. So you go to design view. It's going to prompt you to create a table. So we're going to call it order, just an example. And then click OK. And then that table 1 is the default name. So it's going to change to order, as you can see right here. And then you need to start naming your fields, basically the attributes of this table. So for example, if you have a table called customer, anything and everything about customer should be defined, like every customer should have a customer ID, for example, first name, last name, address, the date they created an account, if they are customer of something, bank account or something. So all the information about the customer should be defined. So here we're talking about order of something, like you make an order. Let's assume that we are making orders for some electronics or, electronics store. So I'm going to put the first thing is order ID. Now, you may notice that there is a key next to it by default. What does key stand for? This is called the primary key. I'm going to put right here, primary. So what is primary key? Primary key is nothing but one of the field, because we're going to have many. So one of the field that is unique. It does not accept duplicates, because that's going to help us in the searching process. Because when you're searching and you are using a primary key, you are 100% sure there is only one element that meets that requirement. But you need to make sure that the field is only accepting unique values. So you cannot have two orders with the same ID. Just like you have, for example, student ID, you should not have two or three students with the same student ID. It has to be unique. Just like social security number, it has to be unique. Customer ID and this kind of things. Okay, so that's why we put the key here. That means I'm gonna assign this as a primary key. Like first name cannot serve as a primary key, because you can have many people with the same first name, even the last name. Okay, so you need to make sure you choose one that is unique. Hit auto number, that means 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't want to use 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to use probably short text, because it's a combination of letters and numbers. And then I'm just going to say here order ID, and then I'm going to put, for example, a first name. That means first name of the person. I'm just going to put order dates. Okay, order ID, and then order dates. That means the date the order was done. So of course, I need to choose something that's matched, which is date and time. Okay, and here you have a description, which is optional, which is basically describing what you are doing. So I'm going to say the date the order was made. Okay, now to be specific, can you see at the bottom right here, we have formats, because there are different ways you can have date and time. So I'm going to choose one that is easy, which is short dates. So you can pick any from here, but I'm going to choose this one, which means the month, the day, and the year. Okay, so as you can see also, there's something called input mask. What does input mask? It's like when you put the order date, you have to put the forward slashes every time, and that's time consuming. So input mask will basically help you take care of the format. So you just have to enter the numbers like the month, the day, and the year, but you don't have to worry about the formatting the slashes. So we can go right here and then tell the program, of course, you have to save. And then look, that means I want to use this format. So you don't have to worry about the forward slashes. You just have to enter the number and then click next. And then next. So it should be something like this. Okay, 2 numbers or 2 digits for the month, 2 digits for the day, and 4 digits for the year. And then click next and finish. So now I'm not done with this, but let me show you how it works. So if I go to the data sheet view, that's when you put the information after saving, of course. Can it say order ID? For example, I can put age 2541. But look at the order when I hit the tab key. So that's gonna move, the cursor will move to the next one. Now I don't have to worry about slashes. I just have to put, let's say 02. That's for them. Can you select the formatting is already done for me? That's because of the input mask feature. And I'm going to put 15 and 2024. See? Okay. So now let me go back to design view and finish that. Okay. So I put that caption, which means this is the field name is basically the variable, but it may not be necessarily how you're gonna see it. So the caption basically is you can put like a date of order. So that's what you're gonna see when you go to the sheet view. You're not gonna see order dates. That's only the field name. So you're gonna see that date of order. Can you see this? So the caption is whatever you can see here, okay, which is not. Now, of course, if you don't put anything in there, so whatever the field name is, that's going to be the caption. Okay, so I'm trying to, I don't want to explain everything because you are not supposed to know every single detail. Default value, if there is a default value, for example, okay, I cannot put default value for the field, for the order ID because we said it's unique, okay? But there are some situations where I'm going to put the default value. I will show it to you in a minute, okay? So date and time, okay? And then we have the validation rule. If you want to put any rule, maybe you don't want to exceed a certain number or the text, whatever you want, a specific text, require that field. Do you have to put information or can you leave it blank? So there are some, this is called data validation. So I'm going to give you an example about the most important one. So I will put order date, right? And then I'm going to put here, let's say quantity, right? Quantity, of course, it's a number. So I'm going to choose a number here. Okay. Or maybe before, maybe I can put description. What is description of my order? So that's going to be text, right? And then I'm going to put long text because in the description, you're going to be typing a lot. It's not like order ID, you have 4 or 5 5 letters or characters. So long text, that means I'm going to type in. So basically the description of the order. And then I'm going to put quantity, which is a number. And then I'm going to put here the quantity of assuming that order is about specific element or device, like for example, computer. How many computers you're going to be ordering? So quantity of my order, for example. Okay, so look here, number. I can put some default value. Let's say by default, let's say 10. By default, that means if I didn't put anything done, by default it is 10 elements. I can put a validation rule, for example, should be, for example, less or equal than 100. Okay, which means if I put something higher than 100, then the Microsoft Access will remind me that I should not exceed that number. Okay, it's required. So let's say order ID, I'm going to make it required. So I'm going to put, it already says by, because if it is a primary key, it has to be yes. But maybe the order date, it has to be required. So I'm going to put here required, yes. That means I want to know when. So if there is a problem, I know what date, okay, the order was made. And then I'm going to put here, let's say price or units price, okay. So of course, unit price, it has the dollar sign, so it's going to be currency. So it's going to be the price per unit, for example. Okay? Per units. And okay. So I'm going to stop here. So order ID, order date, description, quantity, unit price. So again, here, maybe you're going to put some data validation if you want to. You can just maybe the decimal places you want to put, let's say only 2. I don't want to go beyond 2. So you can put some data validation. Default value, I'm going to put by default, it's, $100, for example. So if I didn't put the price, then by default is 1. It's just like to make it easy for you so you don't have to type a lot. Okay, so now I'm done with the description, with the design. Now you have to populate because it's empty. You have to populate. So here I'm going to put have been changed. Existing may not be valid for the new ones. Yes. Okay. So here, as you can see, so description, I'm going to put, for example, computer, or let's say HP computer, quantity 25, and then let's say 990. Okay. And then I'm going to put here, let's say T, and that's going to be order date. I'm just going to put like a random information here or data. So let's say 03, 20, and then 20, 24. Can you see here? It's easy for me to enter the information because of the input mask. And then tab, I'm going to put here monitor. Okay. Okay. And then I'm going to put T here by default is 10, but I can change it to 5. As you can see, the price by default is 100, but I'm going to put it says only 75. And because I specified 2 decimal places, we have this double 0 here. And then you continue. So let's say D12, 6, and then 0, 4, 15, 24. And then I'm going to put mouse. And I have 50 of them, and they are $40 each. Okay, and then I'm going to put 1, 0, 5. I see I don't even have to put the format. 12, 4, and then I'm going to put HP computer again. And then 20, and then I'm going to put 500. Okay. And then let's say every order is different. So I'm going to put B, 5, 2, 3, and then 0, 1, 0, 1, 20, 25. And then a pointer, let's say B pointer. So I'm going to get 12 of them, and they are $95. And then we have C, 279, and 02, 24. Let me say scanner, we have 50 of them. And it's on the video 150. Okay, so let me add one more, and then we have T, 7404001 2024, and then well, keyboard, and then on 60 of them, they are 65. Okay, so here I'm going to save. Not, I may not need this. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, so this is an example of an order table. Okay. So before I create a relationship between this one, now let me run some queries because this is a table. And let's say we have a huge, this is a very small database. Okay, it's not big deal here to find information. But what about if we have a huge database and I'm looking for specific information? We call it queries. So queries is when you run queries, that means search from like specific information within the database. You don't want the whole database, you just some specific one. So you can go to create, and then there are different ways. It's called query. So you can create queries using, but easy way is query wizard, because basically the access will help you find the information. So I'm going to put query wizard. I'm going to choose simple query wizard, click OK. And then here it specifies since we have only one table, so that's all the selected. And then which one you want to use all this field. Maybe I don't want the order ID. I want definitely the order dates, description, quantity, and price. All of this will be visible. Click next. And then would you like a detailed summary? Yes. I'm gonna click next. And then I'm gonna give it a name. So let's say I want all the information that costs, let's say, more than $100, for example. So I'm gonna put more than $100 equipment, for example. Sometimes people may be looking, okay, this is my budget. Is there anything you can find? Okay, so, and then you can modify if you want to make changes here. Okay, so I'm going to put here finish. So if you put modify, this will you put the criteria. So we have the order date, description. So since we're looking for anything, any equipment that is, oh, I put more, I should put less, but that's okay. More than $100. I'm going to go to price because cost is price, and I'm going to put here higher or equal than $100. That means this is my criteria. That means I want any equipment that costs unit price more than $100, and then either you click on the run, or you can change the view from design to data sheet. Easy way is just click on this exclamation mark to run the queries. See, all of them are higher than $100. Okay, now and then you can save it if you want to. So let's save it, and then you create a new one following the same process. So you're gonna go query wizard, simple query wizard. Okay, you specify where you're gonna get the information from. I'm gonna get it from the original table, or you can get it from any query that you already have. So I'm going to include, or you can do this. You can include everything, and then you deselect whatever you don't want to include. So that's easy way. Then click next. Click next. And I'm gonna call it here, let's say printer, anything that has printer. Printer. So printer query. So modify, open, basically you're gonna see the answer here, but it shows everything. But here, I'm not done yet. So I'm gonna click modify. So that's gonna ask me to put the criteria. Okay. So we know that the printer, the description is under description, but the problem is if I put printer in here, what is the problem? The program with search is not going to find only printer, because remember, some of them are preceded by HP. So if I run it, you're going to say, okay, I couldn't find anything. See, nothing. I need to remove the inner because it's default value. So I need to, let me see here. I'm going to go, okay. And then because it shows here, because these are the default values are not part of the queries. So what I'm going to do, okay, I'm going to close everything and then go back to my order table. And then I'm going to make sure that the quantity, I'm not going to put in this. So this way, I'm not going to have these numbers all the time, only if I need it. So I'm going to save and then go back. Okay, good. All right, so now let's go to print query. So it shows me everything, but I want only the printer. So I'm going to go back to the design view. And then, as I said, if I put a printer here, so it's supposed to show me only the printers, but the problem, if I run it, it's going to show me nothing. That means I could not find only printer. It has something else besides printer. So I'm going to tell the program, listen, I want, okay, if you look at the look at the table here. So I'm going to tell the program, listen, I'm going to start with asterisk. What does asterisk mean? That means it does not really how it starts, as long as it ends with printer. So now if I run it, see, it's really printed. Okay. Now, is that the only printer we have? Let's find out. I'm not going to save it. So I'm going to go back to my table and see. Oh, that's the only one. See, printer. Okay. Now, what about computer? Let's say I'm looking only for the computer. So I'm going to put create query wizard, and then same process, order everything except order ID, and then I'm going to call it computer order. Computer order. That means all the orders related to computers. Okay, and then go back to design. So change it back to design. Okay, so I'm going to go right here and then put, okay, it doesn't really matter how it starts, asterisk, as long as it ends with computer. Now, what about if it starts with computer, but it ends with something else? Then in this case, you have to put the asterisk at the end. So now I'm going to run it. See, I have two orders related to computer. So now I can save it as printer query. Now, what about if I want to create a query design? See, I clicked on query design. I didn't click on the query wizard. So what's the difference? Query design, basically, you're going to do it from scratch. So basically, you are going to move everything by yourself. So for example, here, okay, here, where is my so I'm just going to use query wizard and then move everything. Oh, sorry, here. Make it from my table. So all of them except order ID. I mean, I can keep the order ID if you want to. Okay. Next, here, let's say I'm going to put only the orders that are before a specific date. So let's say anything before 04 orders before April 2020. So I'm going to modify. So here, which field I'm going to be using? Not unit price, not quantity, not description, it's order dates. And criteria, I'm going to put less and then put the date, which is 04 April, and then /01, and then 2024. That means any date before this. And of course, the program knows how to compare dates because remember, we define them as dates. So the program should have no problems comparing them, okay? Anything before April, like March, February, and January should be included. And now I'm going to run it. See, all of them are before April 2024. And then save it. So this is how we run the queries. Okay. So before I decide either to add another table and then connect them, let me create a form. So what is a form? Form is just an easy way to look at the information. So I'm going to click create. Just like we use the query wizard, we're going to use the form wizard. So I'm going to put, let's say I'm going to get the information from the order. And then I'm going to get everything visible. So let me tell you why. I mean, somebody may say, why just just like the table, you see everything. Yeah, but in the form, it's different. It's a different way of looking. And then also you have a searching a feature that allows you to search for a specific word. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to click next. And then here, how do you want the form to be displayed? There are different ways of style, columnar, tabular, data sheet, so whatever you like. So I can use this, for example. Let me try each one of them. So I'm going to put tabular here, click next. And then I'm going to put here order form. And then before I modify, let me see how it looks like first by clicking open, finish. So that's basically how it looks like before. Okay. So as you can see here, if you see this pound key, that means it's not, its space is not enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to form wizard, inside the form design, and then change the space. Okay. So I'm going to go right here. See, can you see like I right click and then go to design. So this is the design mode. And then here you can move things around if you don't have enough space. Like for example, right here, I can move this. I can move them. I can select and then move it by here, for example. Same thing right here. So you can do all kind of adjustments and changes here. So as you can see right here, and change. And then the same thing, because I have a problem with the order date is not space, there is not enough space in there. So I'm going to move this there, make sure they're aligned. And then the description, because so we can have enough space for the order dates. So I'm going to move it just a little. And the same thing right here. So now the order dates can be, so you can see just horizontally, not the whole thing. So I'm going to move it. Or just extend it so there is enough space for the order dates. Okay. So now I can always change the view, the form view, because we just had design view. So now can you see the date is complete? There's no pound keys. Okay, so this is like a different ways of looking at your data here. And the good thing, can you see like at the bottom, it says 1 of 7. Okay, so that means if you click here, it shows it moves from 1 to next one. Now, let me change the way this one. Remember, you chose tabular. Now, what about if I want to choose a different way or different way of displaying this? So I'm going to put form wizard. So I'm going to do the same thing. And order ID apps. And then instead of using, I'm going to keep the first one, the default. Click next. And then I'm going to put here order form 2. So it will be different from the first one. And click finish. See now, can you see like it's a different ways? It shows each one of them separately. The first one, all of them in one page. Here, each one of them in one page, and then at the bottom you can move from one to the other. Can you see? And also you can search. Let's say I'm looking for scanner. So I'm going to put scanner, it's showed right here. I'm looking for HP printer. Even if you put printer, I think it will find it. Printer, see? So it's going to search everywhere, even if you don't have the exact one. So I'm going to put here the knowledge. And by the way, even if it's not the same case, I capitalize it does only that. So this is a very, so look, can you see here, order form, this is for the title. It's not good. So always, if you want to change, you cannot change it in this mode. You have to go back to design view. And then maybe here, say I'm going to keep it, I'm going to put here Okay, I'm gonna put electronics form, for example. And then I want to put it in the middle. So I'm gonna select it first. So we have these four arrows. Then you can shift it or move it to the center form. You can even add a picture if you have one. Insert image, assuming you already have one on the computer, and then you find it and then you place it right here. Just have to show the right place. Okay? Then you always go back to form view, and then so you can always go back and forth until, so if something does not look like, for example, the description is too big here, so I don't need that much space. So I'm going to go back to design view and then just make it a bit small because we don't need that much space. Okay. So I'm going to make it smaller here. Okay. So that should be more than enough. See? And this is like the end, that's like the limits of the form. And again, go back to the form view and see how it looks like. So this is my, okay? So this is about the form. Also, we have something called reports. A report is the final output that basically you share with your supervisor or with the, so the form is just basically for you to see, all the different elements or different equipment you have. But the report is the final. Usually you print it out and then you share it with, or you send it electronically. But anyway, it's the final output that you want to share with your supervisor, with other departments. So you click create, and just like we use a query wizard, form wizard, there is a report wizard, and it's pretty much the same thing. So I'm going to get the order, and then I'm going to show all of them. Maybe I don't need the order ID again. So I'm going to move it back. And then this is, do you want to add any grouping levels? So this is if you want to add anything. I don't want to add anything. And then you click next. What sort order? Okay, maybe I want to put them by order dates. Oh, okay, maybe that's going to help. What about if the order date is the same? You can add a second sort. Maybe if they have the same, we don't have the same date, but in case we have one, then you can put, okay, now the next one, maybe the unit price and stuff like that. So click next. And this is again, how do you want it to be displayed? So tabular, column. So let's see the difference. Here is just the field width. So all the fields fit on a page. So sometimes you want to make sure that the program does the adjustment for you. So if there is any space, okay, to make sure that nothing is left out. So I'm going to click next. And this is what I'm going to put order reports again. So this is the final report. So I'm going to click right here. See, that's the final report. So maybe that's too much space here. I can move the quantity, but what is the unit? Oh, unit price here. Can you see they are not in the right order? Okay, so I can always go back to where? To where the reports wizard. That's like what we did with the. So I'm going to go right here, right click, and then go back to design. So as you can see right here, I can make the changes. Okay, so I can see the order date is fine, but the unit price is not supposed to be here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move it to here. So let me add more space. So this is the units. I'm going to move it here. That should be after the quantity. The same thing right here. So I'm going to move it after quantity. And that description should be the next to the order dates. And the same thing. Okay, I don't want to leave too much space here. So, by the way, you can select all of them, and then you can put right click, and then you can align them. See, or size to fit. So here I can decide to go by. Let me see if I click by here. No, that's not what I want. Say I put Control Z, so it goes back. So maybe I'm just going to put the fit. So align to the left. Okay. Same thing here. Control and then select. And then right click. Align to the left. Okay. Let me see how it looks like. So report view. Okay, that's better. Oh, no, no. The description is very close to the. So you can always go back and forth until it's fixed. Design view. So I don't need too much space for description. So I'm going to click description and then okay, and the same thing right here. So I don't need that much space. And then also I'm going to move it away from the dates. Anyway, so let's see how it looks like. Well, that's not bad, right? Okay, anyway, you can move it a little bit to the right until you are satisfied with it. Anyway, but this is the final report. Okay, all the report should be into the center, so you may need to go back to design and then move the tile somewhere in the center. Okay, so that's what we call a report. Okay, that's the final output you would like to share with others. Okay. All right, now let me go back to or to my order table. Okay. And then let's say I want to create a second table that has the information about the customers making this order. Okay. So I'm going to need a customer. Let's say, for example, every customer has a customer ID and then name, first name, last name, and then the city, just to make it simple. But how am I going to connect the two? So I need to include the, let's say I'm going to make the order ID is the common field. So I'm going to include order ID inside the customer table because I have to have one element in common that you can find in both. So I'm going to create a new one. So I'm going to create a new table. I'm going to call it custom. Okay, custom. So I'm going to put here customer ID. Okay, I'm going to put a short text. And then here I'm going to put order ID. But make sure that it is exact. Okay, that's why I'm going to stop here. Make sure I check because it has to be the same order ID, exactly the same, because I'm going to be using this order ID in my second table. That's how I'm going to connect them. So I'm going to put here. Oh, okay, so order ID, and then also make sure that it is the same data type. And then I'm going to put first name and then last name and then okay. Okay, let me save. Let me make sure that the order ID has the same data type. Okay, go back to design. Data type. Design. Need to close all of this. I save yes. I'm gonna save yes. But I didn't save all of this. Okay. So as you can see here, the short, okay, short text. Okay, that's good. All right. So now I have the customer. I'm going to put some information in there. A12. And then order ID, it has to be from this one. So I need to go back. So let's say C279. C279. C can dance. That is the one we can put. And I'm going to continue. B345. Now I have to get an order here. So let's see B523. B523. Remember this, the first one, B34, that's for the customer ID, and this is the order ID. And then we have David Garcia from Houston. Again, so I'm going to put here C679. And then what about the order? So D126. D126. And then let's say Katie sends from New York. Okay, and then I'm going to put D123. Again, and it's get order F361. F361. And then I'm going to get send from that as well. And then I'm going to get E345. Which order? T974. T974. And then I'm going to get Mark. Johnson from San Antonio. And then I'm going to F679. And then order T524. T524. Then I'm going to get John from Houston. And then I have G987. And then you see, take it for the order. Okay. So let's say he has also, he made two orders, C279. C279. Okay. So that customer has more than one order. So that's why it's repeated more than one time. Okay. Okay, so I have 1, 2, okay, so this is just an example here. So I have two tables now. Now, if you want to establish a relationship between the two, and this is something, by the way, it's already recorded. There is a video specifically for this. So this is just an example. So I'm going to put database tools relationships. Can you see this? Okay, let me close the tables here. Okay, can you see like I have add tables here? I'm just going to double click, so move them to this area. And then which field is repeated twice? Basically, it's the common field. It's a primary key in one table, and it's a foreign key. We call it foreign key. That means basically you can still find it on the other table. It's order ID. So what you do is you copy it from here, and basically you drag it, and then you drop it here. Can you see right? And then if you want, you can, assuming that there is no errors, no typos, so I didn't misspell anything. If you check, you should have no problem. Okay, can you see this is one-to many relationship, and then click create. See, now they are connected, these two tables. And then you can run the queries by picking attributes from both. Now, before we had only one table, so all the fields are from one table. Now you can have from both because they are connected now. I hope this video, you can find it useful and helpful and will make things easy. If you still have questions or need clarification about anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much.